Cheri Colleen Raftery comes from a family of ranchers. They began the business before the Civil War. She was a professional barrel racer when she met her husband, who was a bull rider. He did that for 20 years, after which they decided to buy a ranch south of Tucson, raising, cutting horses. One of their daughters, Heather, was a high school champion. She's now doing jiu-jitsu, among other things. Their other daughter, Sarah, is a beautiful actress in Hollywood. And their son, Will James Raftery, breaks horses for them during the week, and on weekend he rides what I would call mechanical broncs. But the reason why I met Cheri was to find out what she knew and had about Will James, and she did have quite a few things to say about him.
I was in 3rd grade and checked out Smokey in the library, and I think I had that same copy of Smokey checked out until I graduated from high school. It just was always around. I probably did at least 6 book reports on Smokey when I was a kid. I originally only thought he wrote 3 books. There's more than 24 books here, but these are all first editions, and they're all not price clipped, and there's only maybe one dust jacket that needs improvement, and a couple boxed editions. And this is I'm going to show you this hand box edition that probably has the most fabulous box I've ever seen, and I don't think anyone owns another one like it. But that's the cover on the first state jacket of Smokey in Classic.
Cheri doesn't have only the Will James first edition books. She has all kinds of books in which Will James might have made some drawings, sometimes only one drawing, but she went all over North America to find those books. She has a collection of rare posters coming from as far as Serbia, from everywhere, from Japan. She got posters, she got anything related to Will James. And of course, maybe more importantly, she has some very valuable illustrations by Will James.
I couldn't afford it, but I borrowed some money from my sister-in-law, Heather, my brother, Bill, and my dad, and put it together and bought the set of six sketches.
Cheri does what it takes to get what she wants. I told her about a book. I showed her a book in which there was a very interesting text about Will James. She had never heard about the book. Well, 4 days later, she sent me an email. She had received the book. She had gotten it by express. She just wanted to make sure that she would have it, that it wouldn't be sold to anybody else. She's the kind of woman who will never stop at anything to get what she wants.
And then my father-in-law, Bill Raftery, introduced me to a friend of his at the Mountain Oyster Club who I bought the Talking Riders from. And it took me 8 years to pay for that, because I had the little babies and we were struggling and we had moved several times. And I paid him $50 a month for almost 8 years. I wept when I first walked in and saw the picture. I wept again when I picked it up, and it's a rare medium, published in sand, and it's color with chalk, and it's in the book, it's just a black and white. This one particularly gets me because the woman is so feminine, and she has a little grazing bit on her horse, and her little flat-brimmed hat and a little bow. And then you look at the cowboy, and he's so rough and masculine, and the big, strong angles, and the horse matches him, and they've got a ring bit on him. And it's just, only people that knew tack and knew bridles and saddles could paint that or draw it. And Will James did that the best on everything he touched. I have the Mustang Girl. You look at all of the Eagle Bill tapaderos on her saddle and the silver, and everything was just exactly the way it was for the period of time. Tom Decker and I did a little business, and I traded him out of He and She, which he liked, but he was a little worried about the subject material. Not that it's not a great drawing, but it was because there's a man and a woman, and there wasn't really any bucking horse action. But it fit into my stuff and made my collection fabulous. And I always wanted to have the 111s and one of the early 20s, and so I finally got one. Harry Jackson said it the very best. He was the best horse draftsman in the world. He could start from anywhere on the page, the tail, the ear, and he wouldn't even miss a beat, and they would never be a mistake. To the people who really know cowboys and really know horses, Will James is the man. And probably the biggest statement would be that Will James drew and wrote the real deal, from a girl that knows it. He was the real deal.